I want to read you something that has something to do with depression, and most of you probably don't remember this because you're not an old person like me. But in 1972, the Democrats nominated George McGovern for president. He selected as his running mate Missouri Senator Thomas Eagleton, who instantly became a major liability when it was reported that he'd been hospitalized for the treatment of depression. This is the kiss of death in American politics. Voters do not want their politicians seeking psychiatric treatment. Voters prefer to have their politicians work out their psychiatric problems while they're in office. Okay, now, also, I had a senior moment. I misspoke a fact or statistic. Worldwide, the profit from the new antidepressants is $100 billion. It is $1 billion profit for Prozac the year before they went off patent. Okay, so I got mixed up. Senior moment. Sorry about that. But still, $1 billion, and you spend $500,000, do the math. You know, made sense for them to do the studies? Okay. So this is considered to be probably the best study done on treatment of teenagers with major unipolar depression. And it's the TAD study, and you can see it's got a decent sample size, okay? And they randomly assigned these kids to these 4 treatment arms and treated them. Now, unfortunately, they only treated them for 12 weeks, and this is the major limitation of this study because other studies have shown there are a fair number of later responders with teenagers. Okay, so most studies go 18 or 20 weeks, and I don't know why this one was short, but in any event, here's what was found. Now, please keep in mind, teenagers, okay? These are not children, right? We can't generalize this study to pre-adolescents. But if you look at responses, the combination of CBT and Prozac, 71%. FLX is generic fluoxetine for Prozac, 61%, and CBT and placebo. Now, all 3 of the active treatments were statistically superior to placebo. But the main thing I wanted to show you really is this one right here. And that 61% response. Now, we're not talking about remission, right? We're talking about response. But that's really what you get in almost all studies of adults that have been done. You know, various drug companies, you know, have done all these studies. The point being that this is in the same ballpark as studies with adults. So that the claim that antidepressants don't work with kids, well, they're not good studies with little kids, okay? But with teenagers, they do work. They probably work about as well as they do with adults. Look at the effect size. Look at that, fluoxetine, almost 0.6. That's good, okay? In fact, that's better than a lot of studies with adults. This is something that is worth noting also. Next time we'll talk about anxiety disorders. But a lot of these antidepressants first got licensed by FDA to be antidepressants. But it was discovered kind of by accident that they also had anti-anxiety properties and actually are probably better at treating anxiety, more efficacious than treating depression. And with teenagers, oftentimes, and kids, and little kids too, often within 1 or 2 weeks you start to see some anti-anxiety effects from these medications. It takes longer with depression, and the final thing here is there are some kids that don't respond until they're out to 10 to 12 weeks. And so I think the general consensus is that it takes oftentimes a little bit longer to see good clinical responses with kids, so don't bail out too soon. Half children that have major depression, their episodes last 2 years. And if they go untreated, and it's not just the suffering of depressive symptoms, but when people are just clobbered by depression, it significantly derails their ability to stay on top of things in school. They can fall behind academically and never catch up, develop feelings of being a failure. Also, because they pull away, they disengage, they don't have a lot of opportunity for developing appropriate social skills, and a sense of competency and being with other kids. So this is a very big deal, in terms of treatment.